And yeah, I remember that game. It was crazy. So I just can't believe that I even did that today. But I just did my job, and good things came from it. So.
What about the first one? Especially you guys just scored, and then boom, you hit them again. What was going on in that play?
So we were in cover two, and they ran kind of the quick out, and so I was just kind of sitting there because I had someone behind me. They were kind of trying to run like a little smash concept in the boundary. So, I was kind of sitting there, and he threw the ball, and I was ready to break on it and tackle him, and then I see the ball pop up, and I got super excited. I was foaming from the mouth, catch the ball and take off. So it happened quick, and I didn't realize I scored the touchdown until I was on the bench. I was like, holy cow, that just happened. So it happened quick, but yeah, that's kind of what I saw.
In general, how well prepared were you guys today? It looked like you knew everything they were going to do.
We were very prepared. We all watch film as a team together, but then also after we meet with our team and our coaches, we'll go in by ourselves and watch more film. So we absolutely won because of film and our preparation for today.
You guys are geometrically positioned like no other defense. I mean, be here, be here, be here. How did that maybe help you, especially against a team that really lived by the big play in a lot of cases last year?
Yeah, so like you said, our game plan kind of come in was, stop the big plays, stay on top. And so that's what we kind of did. We made them work for their yards and for their points. So that's kind of what was praised, was staying on top, doing your job, reading your keys, knowing your responsibilities. And I think everyone throughout the defense did that well. So.
A lot of questions going into the season about the defensive line. They seem to get a lot of pressure today. What was your kind of view of their performance?
To be honest with you, I don't really see what the D-line does until after I'm done guarding. So there's a couple times they got back there at the dude, which was good. It helps us out in the back end. But, I think that they're doing well in the roles, and I'm excited to see what we can do moving forward.
How are you guys complementing that on the back end with all the experience you guys have and forcing the quarterback, to hesitate?
It makes it easy. Those are sometimes how we get picks. And there was a couple drop ones we had today, and that was because of the pressure that we were putting on them. So it all works together, and we get picks because of them, and they get sacks because of us. So it's a team game, and we couldn't be happier for all the positions on defense.
So much anticipation for those first two games, and how good does it feel to get that first one, knowing what's up ahead next week?
Good. We're enjoying this one, and we'll look forward to it tomorrow. But we're just gonna celebrate our win today and all the hard work we put into it. And it does feel good, getting that first W and doing everything that we needed to do. So.
How instrumental was Phil Parker in this victory?
It was all him, to be honest with you. It was him and Coach Wallace. They preach very good defense, and it's always the little things that they preach that I think make us a little bit better than the rest, because it's the little things that you don't think that are important, but they preach it, and those little things matter in big situations. Third down stops, shedding blocks, staying on top, jamming, those type of things. So, yeah, he's very important to our defense and to our team as a whole.
Why are you wearing a wrestling shirt?
I forgot about this. Yeah, I got a couple buddies on the wrestling team. I wanted to wear a long sleeve. I didn't have a long sleeve, and my buddy Abe Assad, shout out Abe Assad, gave me the shirt. So.
Okay, thanks, Riley.
Yep, perfect. Hey, thanks, guys.
John, step to the podium.
What does it mean to get a win like this? This was an even game. Both of you guys are ranked. There was a lot put on this game. And to play the way you did, and not only that, but then get the win. What does this mean for you?
Yeah, we had a solid week and a half of preparation on scout work with these guys. So it was good to go out and execute that game plan. The coaches gave us a great game plan. And yeah, it felt good to go out in front of the fans and get that win. So.
How long have you guys been tthinking about this game? It's been so long since you've had fans, that whole element, the Big Ten opener, and just waiting so long from a COVID year.
Yeah, really, it's been in the back of our heads since January. Really, we've put in 9 months of pretty hard work in the off season and just taking it day by day. But really, we were really focused just on improving each day during that off season. We really started to focus in on Indiana about Thursday. the week before, and we started prepping them. So, but it feels good to after waiting so long with COVID and getting the fans back to get out and give them a win.
You replaced like 3 guys from last year on this defensive line. Obviously did well today. What was working for y'all as a unit, and what do you think you brought to the table and are going to bring to the table?
Yeah, so a lot of it was we were able to see some tendencies that would help us make some plays out there and be in the right spots. They did throw some same side stuff at us that we weren't expecting, but the coaches were good with adjustments on that and on the fly. But it was great to be out there flying around with the guys.
A lot of Indiana's game is throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Was that something that y'all keyed in on going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, as the D-line, we were just focused on stopping the run. They run some RPO stuff, so we wanted to take the run out of the RPO stuff and then try to transition in the pass game. So I think we did a solid job of stopping the run today, and we can keep improving on that. So.
A lot of guys in this rotation. I mean, it's hard to figure out who was in there sometimes. I mean, is that kind of the approach this year, you think? You're going to have to throw a lot of guys at this defensive line?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have some depth and be able to rotate in there with guys and stay fresh. And I think we have a lot of confidence in a lot of guys, so I think that's definitely a positive thing.
You say about Riley Moss in that performance today, I mean, 2 pick sixes, that's huge.
Yeah, it was unreal. I was happy for him, just chasing him down the end zone, celebrating with him. Yeah, I would just turn my head and there's another Riley Moss pick 6. So it was pretty cool to see. A lot of it, like he said, it's a lot of game plan stuff, and he did his job and he got rewarded.
I think he has 8 interceptions now in his career, 1 in every single season. And, you know, it seems like he's come a long way, but really he's been a pretty good performer throughout. I mean, how do you guys look at him as kind of one of your teammates? I mean, as an athlete and as a player?
Right, yeah. I've always seen Riley, he's just a playmaker. You know, he goes hard. He shows up every day to work, and he's a competitor. So, you know, he's gonna go make plays, and you saw that today.
Do you think the defensive line proved something today?
I mean, it was good to get our feet wet. We had a lot of new guys out there playing. Like I said, we just wanted to be in our fits, do our job, make plays when we could. But I definitely think it's a good first step, and we have a lot to build on. So.
I know you guys are 24-hour rule, and you're going to celebrate this, probably it should. But what's next? You guys, especially you from where you're from, you know what the next week's about. Are you going to take 24 hours, or is it going to be like 14 or something?
Yeah, I'll probably take the full 24. I'll probably take the full 24. But just to celebrate with the teammates, and we'll look at this tape, evaluate what we can get better at, and then we'll move on to Iowa State stuff. So.
Okay, thanks, John. Thanks. Let Sam go up next.
Wags, is this your water?
You know, on Tyler's touchdown there, right at the 4th play of the season, I think you and Luke were blocking on the edge. What was your responsibility, and how did you seal the edge to allow him to kind of do what he was able to do?
Yeah, that was our slant concept. So I was directly out on the corner, and the corner fell inside, and that's how he kind of coasted around the edge. And you draw it up, you can't get any better than that. So.
What did that play do for you guys at that point?
Oh, that was huge for us. You know, it really got the crowd into it. Of course, we swarm out. You know, I don't think there was a person sitting in the stadium. That was unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, it really set the tempo for us. And then the defense came out, and you know, I think that was Riley Moss's first pick 6. The drive after that, and yeah, we were humming after that. Offense, defense, special teams. So set the tone.
You were the top receiver today on offense. What was working for you and Spencer out there?
Yeah, Spencer was, he was our field general today. He saw the field really well and delivered some great balls. It starts with the offensive line. They did a great job today. They executed at a high level. And, I reaped the benefits of a lot of my teammates. So that was really cool today to get some yards and get some balls. So.
That's an awfully challenging secondary. I mean, one of the best, probably one of the best you're going to face all year. And to go up there and to be able to do what you did, I mean, how does that help you guys moving forward? Just because, it was a challenge at times, but you're still able to do what you needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, I went against our defense, which has a great secondary as well, for 8 months. So I saw that every single day, and I come out here, and, it's the same look. They had a bunch of great guys that we had to account for as well. And, of course, going forward, we're going to evaluate the tape 24 hours, like you were saying before, and see what we can get better at.
Obviously, an impressive performance for you, but I think Riley had a couple more receiving yards than you did. What can you say about
He probably did.
if my math is right, he got you by 2.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
we can hold that one over you. But what can you say about that's a heroic performance from him?
Yeah, he's a great athlete, and our secondary stacked deep. Like I said, going against those guys every day, it makes me better. It makes the team better. So Riley had a great performance today, and I'm sure he's going to build on top of it. And yeah, the defense played really well today.
Coach has been talking since January. You guys have been doing the right things. He's liked your habits, but were you curious to see how it would kind of play out today? And were you surprised at how dominant it turned out?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I thought we were ready to play, and we executed really well. We've been busting our butts for 8 months. It was a long camp, we put in the work, we put in the time, we put in the effort. So what more can you ask for?
If you compared Spencer's performance today as opposed to his first start last year, what were some of the differences that you saw just comparing?
I mean, first off, you start with last year in empty stadiums, and you're not used to that. So he's out there last year screaming calls, and everybody hears it. It's echoing throughout the stadium. And today he looked very calm under pressure. There were some big situations that we converted on, and he looked really calm. He was our guy today. He delivered great balls, short passes, medium passes, long passes, and we were really happy with his performance. And yeah, I'm sure he's going to build on top of that as well.
Luke Lachey got his first reception at Kinnick today. What was it like to share that moment with your number 2 tight end, and what was working for him?
Oh, that was really cool. He's not. It's kind of like a little bro thing, but I'm not going to say that. But yeah, he asked me a lot of questions. I always try to help him the best I can, and he told me that he was going to be a little nervous for today, and I told him not to be worried at all. He's going to do a great job, and he did. He did do a great job, and I was really excited with his performance, and a lot of guys got their feet wet today. We have a young team, so that was really important, and we're going to build on that, I'm sure.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Spencer.
Hey, we just gotta win.
What was it like to actually, play in front of fans? I know you have plenty of college experience. This is your first real, I don't want to say test, but with the full stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it, really fun. Those big plays, when the crowd's into it, there's not a better atmosphere in college football than Kinnick Stadium. So it was a ton of fun.
On the draw that you scored on, I mean, was that a call, or is that something you took? And then were you nervous at all for Linderbaum being down for a while?
Yeah, that was a call. We liked that all week. Just on the defense, based on the defense and how they played. Once we got to the red zone, it's a really great call by Brian. And I was a little nervous for Lindy at first, but there's no tougher guy in college football than Tyler Linderbaum. So I knew as soon as I saw him walking that he'd be all right.
The fourth play of the season, you guys scored a touchdown. What was that play? Was that something you checked into? Was that something you saw on film?
No, yeah. So that was just an outside zone run play, and I'd have to see it on tape to see everything. But if I had to bet, I'd say we blocked it really well up front, and then if you get Tyler Goodson to the second level, big plays are liable to happen. So the credit there goes to Brian for a great call, the guys up front for executing that correctly, and then T Good for being Tyler Goodson. He's an electric guy, really great player.
How important was it for you guys to set the tone like that and really start hot like that?
Yeah, super important. We preached that all week about we need to start fast. Because there's been examples over the last few years of us coming out and playing fast and just getting off to a great start, and those games usually end pretty well for us. And there's been examples in the past also of us not playing great at first and getting off to a slow start. And you always want to come out firing, like we did. And the beauty of it, I think, was it was all 3 phases. It started with the opening kickoff with Charlie Jones. I want to say it was a 35-yard return. Obviously, we score pretty quickly, and then a pick 6. You can't write a better start than that. And I think we rode that momentum throughout the game, and that was just a great team win.
Have you ever been picked off by Riley?
Less than I don't know if he got me in camp. He got me in spring ball on one of those open practices, I know. But it's funny because he's one of my roommates, one of my best friends, and he rarely picks me off, and I kind of let him hear that a lot. So it's good that what a performance by him. That was such a great game. for Riley, and I couldn't be happier for him, more proud of him. It's a guy that comes every day, competes, and puts his heart in every single play, and it paid off today.
Seems like he's just an incredible playmaker because when he gets the ball in his hands, he does something with it just about every time. I mean, what's kind of your impression when you're throwing at him in practice, whether it's in 7-on-7 or whatever?
Yeah. I've had a chance in my years at Iowa to see a lot of really great DBs, and I don't know if there's one that has been as talented as he is. Just in terms of, like you said, playmaking, his ball skills are pretty elite for a corner, and he's a great player, great guy in coverage. And a lot of that is the safeties also putting him in the right spot, and Coach Parker, making a good call. But, he's a guy that if there's a play to be made, he's going to make it, and he's going to do something with it.
What did you see like in the last, 8 months that led to what happened today?
Yeah, I think from January on, this team has been fully committed and fully invested in the process every step of the way, and that's really all you can do. Is take one step at a time. It starts back in January when it's 5 degrees out and we're doing workouts every morning, and then you transition to spring ball and then the summer and fall camp. But this team has ran the race well to this point. One game is not a whole season. If we want to achieve our goals, we got to play like this every week. But I'm really proud of our team and how we've ran the race to this point. But by no means is it anywhere near finished.
A lot of talk earlier this week was about Indiana's secondary and how difficult it was to compete against. How do you think you were able to evade those interceptions? What were you reading there, and how would you rate your performance against this secondary?
Yeah, I'd have to see the tape before I really rate my performance. But no turnovers is something we preached all week and really every week. That's one of our goals offensively. If we play without a turnover, we have a great chance to win the game. And they're a talented secondary. I think the best thing we did today offensively was, we planned for some other coverages and we didn't see them as much as we thought. Being able to adjust on the fly, and that's Coach Bryan, that's Coach Copeland, that's Coach O'Keefe, and it's the receivers and tight ends and myself just being able to kind of adjust on the fly and get us into good plays. It's not always easy, but I thought we did a good job of that today.
Sam Laporta, your chemistry was working really well today. What was working between the two of you?
Sam's a guy that runs great routes. He catches the football and he makes plays after he catches them. Kind of a great tight end like that's a quarterback's best friend. He's just a great player, so it's just my job to get him the ball when he's open, and that's quite a bit.
In a lot of ways, this game started like last year's home opener against Northwestern. You guys go up a couple scores early, and as the game starts to normalize, today you pull away instead of what happened last year. Do you think that shows kind of the growth of the core of this team, and how have you guys evolved?
Yeah, the guys that played last year, we were reminding everyone that doesn't matter what the score is at half. We've been in games, like Northwestern where, we're up big at half or whatever the score is, but the team can come back. And even with Indiana, we look at them last year. Ohio State, they're down 35-14, I believe, at one point. They come back, and it's a 42-35 game. And their loss against Ole Miss in the bowl game, same thing. They're down, I think, 2 or 3 scores in that one and come back to make it a really close game. So that team doesn't quit. Indiana, they have some really, really good players. So the urgency was definitely there to make sure that we kept chopping away and finished it the way we wanted to.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we'll have Tyler, and then we'll have Coach, and then 2 players after Coach. Questions for Tyler?
I guess the fourth play from scrimmage this season, you're able to take it 56 yards. What did you see on the blocking pattern, and how were you able to make it work?
Yes, the guys up front did a good job of reaching the edge, and that's what we preached all week, is reaching that guy, the force player, so we could get to the outside. And from there, they had their safeties rotated, both safeties rotated to the field, so it was just the corner, and Sam Laporta did a good job of making it to the corner. He cut the corner, and I just went outside and broke it for a touchdown.
When did you know you were gone?
So soon as the corner cut, Sam Laporta, I saw everything open up, and from there it was just keeping my head straight and down and making sure I got to the end zone.
What was that like? That early in the game, and a big game like this with 2 ranked teams and the crowd. How did that feel when you got to the end zone?
It felt amazing. It's always a good feeling to get in the end zone, especially when you score that early in the game. And it being the first game that everybody's in the stadium, the energy level was just up there, and it was just up there, and it was very exciting for me and the team.
You jumped over a guy today.
that was just my instinct. I don't know why. It just came to me to jump over him. I've been getting tackled in my legs all game, and I was getting tired of it. So my natural instinct just told me to jump, and I jumped, and it worked out for me.
Do you worry when you're in midair and there's somebody else? I mean, there's a DB.
I did. Once I jumped over there, I saw a guy coming, and I was just thinking to just get my feet down to the ground so I could just brace for a hit, and I got my feet down just in enough time.
They sent blitzers from everywhere.
Yes, yes.
And so there was a lot of priority on you and Ivory and everybody else. I mean, what was your challenge like? How much film did you have to watch just to make sure your head was kind of in a swivel in the back?
That's what I told you guys earlier in the week, that we had to be strong up front, and that was our main priority. We preached each and every day throughout the week, just be strong up front, make sure the linemen know their assignments and know where to go, and make sure the running backs are scanning and looking at secondary and looking at rotation, so that we know where to go and where to fit in the scheme of blocking. And so I think we did a good job overall of knowing our assignments and knowing our job, and as we were strong up front, we were very successful today.
Between your touchdown run and Riley's interception, how much of a jolt did those kind of plays give you guys coming out of the gate?
Yes, it gives a big momentum. I think those two plays going back to back is a great energy boost for the team, and not just for the team, but for the crowd and the energy in the stadium. I think that just gave us momentum for the whole game, and we kept our foot on the gas and kept going. And from then we knew that the game wasn't over, so we just had to keep going. It just gave us a good momentum going into the rest.
How would you describe celebration? It's only one win. It's a big win, and you got a big one next week.
All right. Yes, we're gonna enjoy the win. The team's gonna enjoy the win. We worked hard to get to this first week, coming from January to now on. So we're gonna enjoy this win, soak this in. Then we'll come back tomorrow, look at the tape, and then come Monday we'll get ready for next week.
Okay.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
We'll slip Dane in before coach.
How y'all doing today?
Dane, I think you got your first interception today.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you take us through that play and tell me what you saw?
It was the play went really fast. We were in a coverage where I had the flat, and the running back came out and almost turned it to a point where he started blocking me. So I was kind of conflicted whether to go after the quarterback or stay on the man. And he tried to probably throw it away. And there was a couple plays earlier where he threw it and it went like right over my head. And I was telling the coach and my teammates like, hey, it's coming low. I could really put my hand up and get it. And that play came and the ball was low and I ended up catching it. And it was a great experience for being my first pick for sure.
It wasn't an easy one. I mean, it was like it came at like 1,000 miles an hour.
Sure.
All right, it was exaggerating. But it was just hand-eye coordination. How were you able to kind of corral it and not let it hit the ground?
Oh yeah, we do. Ball drills all practice. And, the past probably year and a half, I've been on the jugs because I wanted to get my first pick. So I felt like I was getting my hands better throughout this time, and I feel like it wasn't too hard. I felt like it was a quick play and it was natural. Like I saw the ball and went to catch it, and bobbed it a little bit. Like you said, it was coming hot, but I ended up securing it. So.
Speaking of interceptions, obviously Riley gets 2 of them, takes them back to the house. As a defense, how much pride do you guys take in putting up 2 touchdowns on the board, completely flipping a game like this?
Oh, we take so much pride in that. Anytime we can go out there and put points up ourselves, it just boosts the percentage of winning that much. So, him being able to do that, and our team as a whole defense, making plays sideline to sideline fast, I feel like we take so much pride in doing that.
You guys have 3 picks. You get a 4th one taken off the board. There are probably 4 or 5 other times that it looked like you guys had one or could have had one. Do you feel like that's the most in a game, at least with the Hawkeyes, that you've had opportunities for interceptions? They were everywhere all game.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like that just, comes from the way we practice. All 11 on the field, D-line, putting pressure on the quarterback, forcing those throws, and linebackers and DBs, playing coverage in the back end. I feel like that just, comes from how we practice. And we take, like I said, we take pride in that, having being able to have those opportunities to create turnovers. That's what creates a good defense, the amount of turnovers and yardage and things like that. So I think it was a good thing for us.
You've done okay with the NIL. Do you think Riley should grab a little piece of that pie?
I mean, hey, whatever he wants to do, he can do it. But I guarantee everyone on the team's focuses on this season. If we do NIL stuff, that would be a bonus. But, our main priority is on this season and on each game a week at a time. So.
You talked to Michael afterwards, I know you're from Tampa and friends with the guy.
Oh, yeah, I talked to Mike. I talked to Jawan, James, all them, all the boys from Tampa, just chopping it up, seeing how they were doing. And, they were saying, we had a good game, and I feel like we did do that. But, it was good seeing them after the game for sure.
How did Parker prepare for this game?
He prepared us the way he does every week. The coaches do their due diligence and their justice on the game plan. Providing a great game plan for us, and they demand a lot out of us out of practice. So they just keep that standard set. And the way we practice, each week is the same thing moving forward. So that's the way they prepared us, and it's going to be like that every week.
The way you guys structure your defense in the secondary is built to take away the big play, and that's what Indiana did so well in the past, especially with Freifeld, number 3. How were you able to take him out of the game other than give up that one big pass in the middle?
It was a big challenge throughout the week. That was our focus, taking away the big play. And I just feel like it was, like I said, the way we prepared and, we did our job, everyone doing their job at the same time and trusting the guy next to you to do their job. And if we all do that on the same play, we'll be successful. And I feel like that's what you saw today. Everyone was doing their job, flying around, and I feel like that's what the result came from doing that.
Confident just overall were you guys coming into this?
We're pretty confident. I feel like the way we prepare, we're confident against anybody. I feel like we can stack up against a lot of people. We might be the underdog or, under skilled or whatever, but just like the way we prepare, the way we go, mindset into a game, I feel like we're pretty confident in a lot of games.
Pressure on yourself, you had that first interception?
I wasn't putting any pressure. I just, plays in the game, they come as they come. But, I definitely wanted it. It's been, 2 years in the game. So, no, I wasn't putting any, pressure like I have to get a pick, but I definitely wanted to make plays to, help the defense and help the team.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, change of plans. We'll slip Tyler in, last player before coach.
Well, you're walking pretty well there. It looked like you were a little dinged up on that touchdown.
Yeah, just a little banged up, but I was able to finish the game, so I'll be fine.
Man, you were down on the turf a while. Did you notice the stadium got quiet, or were you just like, so what?
I was more focused on what happened. But, I'm just happy I'm okay. I'm happy I was able to finish the game. So, no, I wasn't worried. I knew I'll be fine. So,
Did you yell at Spencer?
no, I didn't. I probably should. I'll talk to him tonight. I'll have a good talk. Just got a helmet into the thigh. That's about it. So it'll heal up fast. So not too worried.
How'd you feel the O-line played? A lot of rotating bodies in there. You're the central guy. So what was your evaluation?
Yeah. No, obviously I think we need to improve our consistency. But I thought our communication on the sideline was good on the stuff that we were seeing. But at the end of the day, we need to play a little bit better just to get that run game going a little bit better, protect a little bit better, try to eliminate those sacks. But for the first game, stuff like that's going to happen, and then just keep improving week by week. We got a great group of guys. Coach Barnett's done a tremendous job with us, and I'm excited for us to keep improving.
Riley said he forgot what it was like to play in front of a crowd. He felt like it was his first game ever at Kinnick. Did you kind of feel that way too?
Yeah, it was definitely a little extra energy from last year. And it was awesome walking out and seeing all those fans. Even the warm-up, a lot of the students were there and stuff like that. But, it's nice to have fans back in the stadium. I know the players love it. The energy that they brought today, they made a big impact on the game. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tyler.
What's that?
They took a 20-yard catch down the game. They didn't get anywhere.
Who was that? Oh, it is, oh, sick.
The stream finally came back.
That's-
Fix their technical problem for the last play.
Yeah, they got it 1st and 10 at their 42.
Looks like they're gonna win, right?
Yeah, they'll pull it out.
Barely.
They threw it to the underneath guy.
No. They're winning, but they're not bad, so.
Seconds left, one touchdown.
I was surprised that they don't have any starters back. And also, like,
I sort of thought that was happening. He was walking with the sideline, but he was going to call wide
Oh my God.
Yeah. I know. He's like number 7 in the nation, right?
Yeah.
It's over. She caught it. This is, do what you had to do after that.
I remember watching him against
So just a couple things before we get to Coach. Please send player requests by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. ABC next Saturday, 3:30 kick in Ames. I think that's it. We'll do the same routine on Tuesday and Wednesday that we did this week, and we'll go from there. So, all right, Coach.
Okay, so, needless to say, just really pleased with the effort of our entire football team today. It was really, a good team win for us, and, it starts with the effort, focus, and effort. And a week ago, I wasn't so sure where we were at, but guys had a really good week. They came in Monday morning, focused, ready to roll, and put a good weekend on working on Indiana. And I think just in a nutshell, two things that stand out in my mind. You got it was a combination. Our older guys did what we need them to do. They really played good football and led our football team. And then the other aspect, just really pleased with the young guys. And I don't mind telling you, they between number 3 and then the youth of our guys up front are inexperienced. Those things were kind of keeping me up at night a little bit. So just, anxious to see the film, see how they look technically. But, from the sideline, looked like we held our own, at least up front on both sides, and gave us a chance to play good football. And then, I can't say enough about the big plays. Obviously, Riley Moss and a couple interceptions. Belton with that interception in front of our bench was a big play and just really well done. Goodson, popping that run, that was outstanding. So all that was good. And then last but not least, just, great to be back in Kinnick and great to have fans, live energy, and boy, I'll tell you, we were all feeling it down there. So just even coming in today, night and day different from last year. It's probably the weirdest thing, like a science fiction movie going into West Lafayette, and not seeing people out there. So to see people just out moving around, enjoying life a little bit, and having them in the stadium is fantastic. So we're appreciative of that, and I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, what can you say about the state of your defense today, holding Indiana to its lowest point total since 2013?
I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I just obviously very pleased, and a lot of respect for them, their whole football team, all 3 phases. But I tell you, they're a big play outfit. And they've made some big plays, explosive plays between the quarterback and number 3. Those 2 guys are really dynamic, and so for us to do that, to play that way against them, and our DBs really look quick to the football and good anticipation. We're veteran back there, so I'm not going to say we expected that, but that really helps us if our veterans play like that. But a big part of it, too, is the guys up front getting pressure. It's not always about sacks, but if you can keep a quarterback a little bit uncomfortable that factors in too. So it seemed like we were playing pretty cohesively.
They seem to fit what you guys want to do defensively. I mean, they're a big play outfit. They're not really a high percentage passing team, but still to do this effort against a team like this. I mean, what would you think of the way Phil called the game, called his defense, and then put him in position, and then of course Riley and everybody else being able to execute?
Obviously, not a lot to complain about. They hit that one, flag right in front of their bench there. I think it was in the first half, and then hit three. Somewhere in the third quarter, whatever it was. Those two plays. Those are the things you worry about. Just giving up those chunk plays, and they're pretty good at that and hitting those. If you go back and look at them last year, they had a lot of luck with that. So. For us to play good defense, that's something we're always trying to minimize, make people work, drive the ball and work it a little bit. But that doesn't work either if we're not, playing good run defense and also getting a little pressure on the quarterback.
What went into the game plan defensively to eliminate this air raid offense?
Just, it's good team defense, and I know it sounds really mundane, but it really is, and that's how we play. If we can get a spark play, and picks are a spark play, obviously, but you're not banking on that. But when you get those, that's super. Getting a sack is a great thing, but again, it's not always about that. But just trying to play with some tempo and making the other team a little bit uneasy. And I think our guys did that. Phil, the defensive staff, do a good job. They do a really good job, and combination of all those things gives you a chance. But it gets down to, again, not giving up those easy plays, big plays, and because they're really demoralizing.
In a lot of ways, this game started like last year's home opener against Northwestern. You guys get up a couple scores early, and then the game starts to normalize a little bit, and this time you guys continue to pull away, continue to shut them down. Spencer was saying at halftime, the guys were talking, look, hey, we know it can happen. We know we saw Indiana do something like that against Ohio State last year. How do you feel like this team has evolved from that point last season?
First of all, about Indiana, they were really impressive last season. There's no question about that, and they're good in all areas. They're well coached. But the thing that stood out to me, the two games they lost, they were down decidedly against Ohio State, and then they pulled it right back to a score. And the same thing in the bowl game as 2020, after being down 20-6, I believe. So that tells you a little bit about a team's personality. And then you factor in, we haven't always been the fastest starting outfit in the third quarter. So, we just remind the guys that, this thing's far from over. And then you factor in their big play capability. So it's, it's hard to relax. It's really hard to relax on Saturdays. I got to tell you that.
What do you think it's about this team that they responded that they took care of that business?
Yeah, it's a good positive step for sure. And we're just happy now. We got to try to keep building on that.
In the opening statement, something about a week ago, you felt a little maybe unsure what happened there. What did you see this week that?
As you remember, it was really hot last year and last week, and really humid. We had a little bug going around in our building. I think the whole campus, and that was affecting some guys. And just when your numbers go down a little bit, and probably couldn't practice as hard or as much as we wanted to at the end of last week. So, what do we do, right? We find ways to worry about things, and there was plenty of ammo right there. So Saturday, it's kind of like that. But it was hard to enjoy some time off, which we all took. But like I said, when they came in Monday, they practiced really well this week and prepared well. Obviously, did their work away from the building. So really pleased and happy for what the guys did.
Spencer runs it in, and then rebounds down. What are your thoughts on that play?
Well, it's one of those plays. If you get the right coverage, then you got a chance to execute it, and then you got to execute it too. And to his credit, he's not renowned to being a runner, college football running quarterback. But he showed good poise. He didn't rush it and let it develop, and then the guys did a good job blocking.
Did you kind of get tired a little bit with Leonard?
No. Yeah, that part, yeah, absolutely. But it's going to take a lot to keep him up. That's for sure. I can attest to that.
A few of your players talked about your famous 24-hour rule, and I guess that's a rule in a lot of places. But do you and your coaches have a similar rule, or with what you're facing, next week?
Yeah.
You know what you're facing. You go right into it tonight?
I don't. Me personally, no. And I don't recommend it. And to that point, last week we walked out of here, I think most of the coaches were out one or two, and we were off last Sunday. The staff was. Now, you guys are in and out doing what they got to do to be ready Monday. But I think, one thing I've learned is you got to rest hard and work hard. And the other thing I've learned, too, is that wins are really hard to come by. So, I encourage our guys to enjoy this today, smartly, but enjoy it. And tomorrow we'll look at the film and try to learn from it, and then we'll move on. And that's one thing about the morning practice schedule. It's forced us to move a little quicker. It used to be we'd start out Tuesday afternoons, 3 o'clock, prior to 15. And so you talk about a 24-hour rule, but we didn't put it in effect. So, yeah, tomorrow we'll have plenty of time to get on the next game and really start to work on it and, see what we can do. And we got a lot of work to do, both in terms of the opponent, but then also us getting better at some things. But not really, these games are hard to win, so you want to enjoy it.
Kirk, I think you said earlier this week that was a night and day difference for Spencer Petras going into the game. Now that you have some, not film and there's some in-season reps to look at, how did you feel like he performed just as opposed to last year? Where did you see him take steps as opposed to his first?
Yeah, I did a good job and did a good job protecting the football, and it starts there. We had 2 fumbles today, right, and that's not good. But Ivory's been out for a while, so I think that's probably part of it. And we're pretty careful about tackling experienced guys in practice during scrimmages. We don't tackle a lot live anyway, so I guess you got to live with that. We had 2 last year on our opener too. But I think Spencer just has he's got more confidence now. He's played, and you can't give that. You can't hand it to anybody or give it to him. They've got to earn that. So he's played through the highs and lows, and we'll have more ahead. He's got a tough job, and he plays a really tough position. But you just see the growth and you feel it. So I think all of us have confidence in him and go with there. One thing I was pleased with too is our penalty situation. We had 2 today, and that's in stark contrast to the opener a year ago. And one of them, I can't find fault in that one at all. It's just aggressive play, and it was a bang play. And I understand why the official had to call it, but hard to get mad on that one for sure.
Coaches are notorious warriors, and you're probably at the top of the list on that one. And then you look at and you look at with your offensive line situation, kind of moving guys in and around, and then Indiana, the way that they move guys in and out. I mean, how did you feel that they protected, and did it meet your expectations?
We had that one sack, I think it was right before the half, right down on our right, where the guy came off on a game late. But just, like I say, you got to see the film to really know the intricacies. But we didn't fold. It didn't look like we were on the retreat or anything like that. And I thought the guys seemed unaffected by playing. And that's one of the things I worry about, or all of us worry about, especially young guys. And then, so I thought, overall from the sideline, these guys do some things. Our opponent does. They do some things that are really tough to handle. So some of the dead plays were just, good calls on their part, and, they got us, and sometimes you get them. But I thought it seemed like nobody seemed like they were out of place. They just seemed like they were doing okay. And then flipping it around, just got off the radio saying one of my Kodak moments etched in my mind was Y.A. Black at Penn State last year. He was in there in the 4th quarter, I think it was, and he's rushing over their left tackle, and he looked like one of those cartoon characters. His feet were going, and the guy was just basically had one hand. And I'm like, get away. And I told him the next day, I said, it's okay if you're aggressive. Like, if you try to, don't be irreverent and try to be aggressive. But I didn't see that out there today, especially with our defensive guys. And a lot of those guys haven't played much. We got our veteran guys who we're counting on, and then the next wave. Those guys haven't been out there a lot. But they seemed like they did some good things, so that's encouraging.
Talk about the youth, the sustained effort. Holding Indiana to 6 points for an entire 60 minutes and the way they played.
Really hard to complain about that, and that we got a chance in every game. If we'd really have to screw it up, right, if we can't win with 6 points. Although it's been done, but that's really a good starting point if you can keep people out of the end zone. And even the one time they got down there, we forced them to kick the field goal, and that's part of good defense too. They kind of had us on the run, a little momentum, but we dug in and forced them to kick a field goal. And so those are things that we'll point out in tape that this is going to help us during the season if we just understand how important those situations are.
Seems like kind of a big deal. You started a freshman left tackle, and it seemed like you rode in most of the game. Might have been a few snaps that Plum played, but what led you to Mason Richmond being your starting left tackle?
Pretty much how he practices, and it's been good competition with all 3 guys that right now are playing the tackle slot, and Colby would be the next guy. They've all 3 of them improved a lot over the last spring ball and then this period here. But I tell you, Mason's a guy who's very coachable, and then he it's one thing to hear what a guy's being coached to do, but then he goes out and really tries to execute it. And then the other thing that impressed me during camp for sure was if he had a rough day and Van Valkenburg gave him some fits, he would come back the next day and take the challenge. Like he didn't go into a retreat. So again, you never know what's going to happen on game day. You know, it's a long season, but at least this is a positive step. He's got to feel better about himself right now.
Kirk, you've been around Ryan Moss for many years. What characterizes him as a competitor?
Riley? You know, he's kind of been that way. It's funny, when we recruited him, it wasn't like, you know, we weren't on him as a sophomore or freshman. And it was a little bit later in the process, and but he kept impressing us, and then since he's been here, he's done nothing but impress us. And he's you know, if you get his personality, he's a little bit, you know, loose and light and all that kind of stuff. He's a lighthearted guy that way, but he competes hard out there, and he's got some good skills and good ability, but he really competes hard and he's got a lot of pride in what he does. And so I think, you know, he's grown a lot, and so is Matt Hankins. I'd say the same thing about Matt on the other side. So it's pretty good. And then Terry Roberts is, I don't know, I'm going to say closing that gap, but he's really gaining ground too. So I think we've got some guys that have taken steps forward.
Specifically that second, the field goal right before halftime, when you got those 3 timeouts there, he's got to sit through that and then still makes it.
I'm not sure how that affected him. You know, he got a couple practice shots in. I guess that'd be good from my vantage point. But you know, he does such a good job on kickoffs. Like, he almost take that for granted. And then I've said, you know, we've considered him to be a starter. I was just, you know, I think all of us have a lot of confidence in him. Kind of like Mason Richmond, but different. You know, he's an older guy who just practices so well. And you know, the facts are sometimes you got 2 guys that are really good, and Keith Duncan was really good. So it wasn't like, you know, he was beaten out by somebody, just did somebody maybe a little bit better. But it gave us total confidence whenever he got his chance. Even last year, if he had been called upon, he would have answered it. And first-class guy. I mean, just, you know, smart as could be and serious and works at it. And when you see guys doing that day after day after day, that you feel, you know, you can never predict, but you feel like, hey, when they get out there, they're going to do pretty well with their opportunity. And there's no question. I think all of us feel that way about Caleb. He's earned that. Okay, thank you. See you Thursday or Tuesday. Thanks.